Howdy folks, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron number 4. As I promised, I'm going to be performing a new Let's Play series here. In this instance, we're going to be playing one of the British Empire nations. I'm actually aiming to play in South Africa. So we're going to create a brand new game, starting again from 1936. And of course, we are using the latest expansion on there, which of course also includes the latest DLC. So at least we can actually benefit from some of that research that's available. So we're choosing here South Africa, as you can see, and there are three potential groups. So we can support the German Coup. The German government has long seen South Africa as fertile ground for a greater influence dating back to the last century. Our future lies with the Reich, not the Empire. So let's move forward with the plan to overthrow the current government. That's kind of my selected target I want to go for. So I'm going to select the country, as you'll see. It's straight away listed here. I'm going to play this in Iron Man mode. And at the moment I'm going to do this at regular difficulty. So let's get started. So it's going to be called number 2 because I tried basically starting a game already earlier, but I didn't have the latest DLC on there. So I was kind of checking whether it actually had come through or not. At which point it had not. Now this is the initial phase, of course. Now what we're going to do is we're going to straight away set our research targets, and typically you always want to start off with industrial or related elements. So we're going to basically say construction first, and the second one is basically going to focus on the basic machine tools. We got civilian factories that are free, that are untaken at the moment. So what can I actually do here? I can of course start allocating individual bits in terms of production here. Now, do I want to do that? In a minute, I think. I do want to go for abandon Westminster at some point. Now the question is, these two branches are mutually exclusive. So support the policy of appeasement or abandon Westminster. War Measures Act. So as you can see, there's an entirely new tree available to me here. So the German coup is down here. Okay, Ossebrandwag. Okay, so interesting measures in the tree, I think. Does this one preclude that one? I don't think it will, so I'm actually going to choose this branch here. More than 20% world tension. Current is not okay. It actually tells me I cannot even start at this one here. So the only one I can start here is this one here. Can I start any of the lower ones? Nope. Okay. Which grants daily autonomy progress. Daily democracy support is being lost. Okay, yeah, let's go for that one. No divisions are in training at the moment. Now I do only have 31,000 manpower, so manpower will be a issue for me. If I look at my total division split, as you can see, I have got everything relatively easily split across here. So that one's covering that one's covering that particular position. None of these actually seem to be assigned to a general at the moment. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these 3 units here and I'm going to assign them to one general. Can I then choose the general? I only have one general at my disposal at the moment. And that's not the general I was hoping to assign to here. I will be assigning them to this unit here. So what's the reason for that? Well, I want to be able to keep these as the offensive ones. As you can see, it's a Desert Fox. And I want to basically keep the other ones in a defensive role. Now, that is Ital. So I was about to say that these are Portuguese units. I got British territory here, Belgian territory, and more Portuguese as my neighbors. I do also have French territory relatively close. What do I want to focus in on? Do I actually have any production facilities for naval? I don't, do I? I do have a naval base here, but I actually don't have any naval production facilities. So what can I actually allocate? I can actually say I want to build myself... What can I build myself? I can actually build myself some more civilian factories, I would say. Let's assign one extra here. Okay, no divisions in training, which is fine, I think. Let's just get the clock running here. One of the things I have not done yet, I haven't actually evaluated my trade position. Now, as you can see, steel I've got a slight surplus, and chromium I got a substantial surplus, which should actually give me, in terms of productivity, should give me import options, because I own a couple of factories. Do I own 9 of them? Could well be, but I should also be getting a couple from trade. Now, maximum, as you can see, is 15, so I'm using 6 and I've got more in my hands that I could actually use here. As you can see, I've basically just allocated one item here. I am actually going to set a civilian factory up. No, I cannot actually do that. I was hoping I could actually do that, but I cannot. Did I just allocate a military or a civilian factory? Okay. Good. I'm going to kick up the clock speed a little bit. Let's actually have a look at the national political points. Now, I've done my research already, so fine. Here, I can basically add political advisors here. Political drift. Fascist demagogue. Must have completed a support to the Afrikaner Broederbond. Okay, interesting. So that's also a new aspect here. So you need to meet certain criteria before you can actually choose certain political advisors here now. Political power gain is increased. Captain of industry. Political drift. Okay. What else can we do here? Army maneuvering, division speed, defense, naval, commerce rating. That would be an interesting one. But at the moment I don't really have any commerce as of yet. Do I actually have any air power? I've got one fighter, look at that. I got one fighter based in Transvaal. Where is Transvaal? I believe that's up here. Yep. It will be at the airport there. They're on standby. Nothing really major. Now, how big is my population at the moment? I've got a population in total of... Where does it list my population? Alright, 9.76 million. And basically you've got a total manpower of 0.6% of that population. Volunteers only is 1.5% extra. Okay. Right, clock is running, as you can see. Research is progressing. We are currently basically benefiting from the Commonwealth research, which actually gives us a 10% bonus. Ooh. The militarization of the Rhineland, that's according to here, it's worrying. Cool, we finished that in that particular national focus. Now, does that have a consequence straight away for this here? No, not yet. So let's get our next focus into there. Mutually exclusive from empower the workers. So actually I'm going to go for this one here. Support the Afrikaner Broederbond. So the Afrikaner Broederbond has been agitating for a greater voice for the Afrikaner people and a stronger separation of the races. The memories of the British policy of the Boer War is still strong, and the Broederbond can help create a new South Africa. Ooh, interesting. So that's like kind of already basically forming the base of what I actually was aiming for, giving me access to the Axis powers. Because of my position, I actually don't get to see much of what's going up further north. Research is still progressing nicely. Another couple of days, well, a couple of days, 60 days or so almost. The square here is hill terrain. That one is plains. Do I want to move them there? I might actually do so. Yep. Alright, entrenched unit. Maximum entrenchment. Italy took one state. Ethiopia was annexed, and of course equipment was seized. Okay, so that's basically made for a rise of world tension. Actually, it's a reduction of world tension. Okay. Minus 1.7%. Good. Pretoria, our capital, is over here. Let's move that unit into there just to keep the city safe. Now, this is Orange Free State Command. They all got interesting names, don't they, these divisions here? So Natal Command, this one is East Province Command, and this is then Cape Command. I'm not sure why they're called Command, because in reality, of course, they're not really command units as such, but okay. Advancing the clock again. So how far are we from this one? Another 10 days. In terms of research, it's another 13 days. So we should be getting the Afrikaner Broederbond before we get the other one. Now these are 150, and we're getting close to that 150 mark as well. Okay, perfect. So let's pause the game just to make sure I don't actually progress to the next one straight away. Okay, which one am I going to go for next? Celebrate the Great Trek. Ooh. Right, what does this one do here? The fascist HOI4 paramilitary should be used as a bulwark against foreign agitation and domestic uprising that target our ruling class. Army experience is increased by 15. Modify HOI4 by effect of partisan orders minus 10. Factory output plus 10. Dock, wow, okay. That looks like an interesting one. Is that one of the politicians? I'm assuming so. HOI4. Where is he? I would assume he's one of the listed people here, but I don't see him listed at all. Ah, that's part of the national spirit. HOI4. So at the moment, basically gets daily fascist support, factory output is reduced, and dockyard output is also reduced. So if I go ahead with that particular option here, modify by these effects. It doesn't say it removes the old effects, it just says it modifies it by these effects as such. One of the following must be true. South Africa is fully independent. All of the following must be true in Dominion. Autonomy progress at 65%. Okay, nothing I can do with that at the moment. So the one I can do is, of course, the Great Trek. Right, let's get the clock running again. And we could, of course, see within the next 2 days that the research on this one is completed. It's 1936, and we want to basically increase our output of the factory. So which one do we want to do? Do we want to do concentration? Factory output is increased. Maximum factory in state planted plus 20%. Production efficiency retention is high. Bomb vulnerability is reduced. Now, I don't foresee much in that sense. Factory output is 10, 15. Let's go for this one here. Alright, kicking up the clock speed once again, or the turn speed. We can modify the government. So what can we do now? We can actually get our fascist demagogue. Gain event. Gets event fascism on the rise. The higher ups have harbored. Okay, so now the choice is, do I want to basically say that it's the youth mostly or the actual higher ups? The South African people have a noble history, a history that have made to forget under the weak and cowardly rule of United something. It doesn't say exactly what. They claim to represent the people, but can so feeble a state enforce the will of the people? Only by spilling the blood of those traitors can we fulfill our destiny. The fascist speakers in South Africa have made no secret of what they think of our current leadership and political system. Speeches like these have tapped into a public dissent that is particularly pronounced in the more conservative sections of the military. Popular support or internal support for a fascist coup? Let's choose popular support. So we will see this actually rising. Popularity is 21% now. United. So that's the name of the party. I thought it was United Kingdom they were referring to, but it's not the case. ANC, African National Coalition, I guess. And then GNP is basically the fascist one. Okay. History of segregation, recruit population factor is minus 55%. Okay. Abandon Westminster. Gain autonomy progress plus 5. Daily democracy. So Dominion here. So it stands at 448 out of 1,000 points until being able to become free. Effective autonomy. Country is increasing. Overlord lend-lease to subjects. Okay, so there's various different factors at play here really. This is Rensburg. He's got a positive effect on all this, as you'll see. The only odd thing here is it says over here it's plus 10, and over here I only see plus 0.5. This popularity affects our skills to 50%, so popularity must also increase further. Anyways, that bit of research has completed. Excavate, so is resource gain efficiency is plus 10%. Celebrate the Great Trek. A century ago, our Afrikaner ancestors separated from the rising British colonial power and built their own Boer nation in the northeast. Their hardy spirit still represents the best of South African virtue. This focus currently has no effect. The change in the world situation may affect this. Cool. Now, I kind of had hoped to be able to go for that one. But if I go for this one, I cannot. So I've basically done this. At the moment, I don't seem to be able to do any of the other branches. I require one of the following. Police Windhoek. Support the Afrikaner Broederbond. Police Windhoek. Require support the policy of appeasement. Native Laws Amendment Act. What does this do? Gain national spirit, cheap labor, which grants blah 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 blah. Work for all the poor. No. Commemorate the Battle of Blood River. Support the German Coup. Support Axis interests. Okay. I kind of had hoped to be able to get more research slots somehow. I don't see those listed anywhere here. I scroll to the right? Ah, there's the traditional ones I was hoping for. Okay, so I had missed the fact that I could actually scroll to the right here. Mining, heavy engineering. Okay, special service battalion. So, Pretoria Arm. Okay, so there is a fair amount of extra stuff here which I had missed out earlier. Seaboard Defense Force. Okay, gets 1 building slot. Okay, protect the trade. Disrupt trade. Now, which one shall I go for? This is infrastructure, which gives me add infrastructure 3 to Natal. That leads to ultimately getting the research bits there. And I can actually modify the government even further. What am I going to allocate here? Political power gain is plus 15%. Political power. Nicolas Havenga, Captain of Industry. Construction speed, and construction speed. Let's get that political power in play. I can always use additional political power. So that should give me political power change increased. South African Railway. Ah, okay. So a total of 1.3. Okay. Alright, again, basically got that at maximum speed, progressing through here nicely. So we're at the moment in August. Now I could, at this point, of course, start trading with the Germans. The games are concluded, that's fine. What can I do in terms of political interest here? Okay, African opinion of German Reich, and of course Germany opinion of South Africa. Both are relatively negative at the moment. I can of course improve those relations there. Alright, let's see what kind of benefit that will ultimately have for me. Can I look at my own government? See who's influencing me? It doesn't list it, does it? No. Okay. So popularity is still increasing, as you can see. So 492 out of the 1000. The Spanish Civil War, what does this mean for Spain? Nationalist, Spain declares war on Spain. Okay, fine. That nicely progressed here. So we're adding to Transvaal additional infrastructure. So at the moment we have infrastructure at 5 out of the 10, and we're going to increase that. Perfect. So let's pause that before we get too far. So additional infrastructure has been added here. Expand the mining. What does this do? So in Southwest Africa, we're going to add 2 building slots, and we're going to add 2 civilian factories. Looks like an interesting one. I'm going to go for that one. Okay. 0.9 per day at the moment, which is slightly less than we had before. It's all due to the fact that we're trying to improve our relationship with Germany. Let's see where our relationship stands at the moment. As you can see, German opinion of South Africa. improved relationships. Am I still working on that? No, it stopped because we actually reached the maximum there. Okay, so if I were to look at Italy, what is the current situation there? Relatively stable. Okay. Look in here, we do see that increase from 5 to 8 now in terms of infrastructure. Can we actually look at the infrastructure for all of our bits? That stands at 13, it says. Average infrastructure in the States. Right. Local infrastructure at 32. Local infrastructure. Okay, it doesn't say exactly. Nation states, and of course here we got the resistance map, then we got the resource map. Here are our resources listed. There's a lot more chromium available there, but we really don't want to have chromium. We want to have some other stuff, like for example rubber. That would be a useful one to have, but also this one here. Ah, research has finished. I was kind of thinking our nationalism would finish first, but it's not the case. So let's get the research item, the next one, selected. Which one is the next one that we want to go for? Probably if we want to go for this one here, that is getting a boost at the moment. Support equipment. I can modify the government once again. Armor, that's screen attack. Naval strike. Naval agility is increased. Army regrouping. Division recovery rate. So these are all similar in that sense. Air Force, ground support. Commerce rating is increased. Naval speed is increased. I'm going to go for the commerce rating, I think. Now military theorist. Army experience gain is plus 0.05. Air experience gain, air warfare theorist. Okay. Electronics or industrial. I'm gonna go for electronics here. In terms of research, I probably should have focused more on the electronics and that kind of stuff, but okay, I'll do that next year, which is 1937, which is just around the corner anyways. This one should be completing shortly. Industrial focus, completed. Let's pause that game for just a minute. Now, infrastructure here. The base adds to Southwest Africa 3 infrastructure. Ooh, steel would be useful. Other ones would be useful to have. Let's have a brief look on the left. Is there anything else that we can basically pick on the left in the meantime? Looks like they're all still locked for me to go with. Looks like there is some branching to here though. I can actually start it. Native Law Amendment Act. To further guarantee work for the Afrikaner population, we must limit the settlement of black South Africans within the cities. Only those with a long history of the municipality will have residency rights. Cheap labor will grant factory output increase, dock output, and recruitable population is reduced. That's not a good idea to basically reduce it as such. This one is of course dependent on the previous ones. I cannot choose this one yet because we're still part of the Dominion. So we are going to go and choose here, I guess. I can actually do both. They're not mutually exclusive. So I'm actually going to go for the Should I go for the infrastructure effort? Probably. Yep, let's take that one. Let's get the clock running again. My ultimate aim, of course, is to get steel production up in my own territory as well. It'll take a little while, but we will get there. Actually, we already have steel. We got 8 steel at the moment. I just want to increase that. Do I want to increase that? I think I do. Because there's, of course, a resource that is quite often used for production of pretty much anything. Excavation is still being increased. Now we are actually going to go to the detailing of this. I probably should have done this earlier. Engineering here, gone for this one here. So I see 36 days. That is should be a relatively quick one. But that will actually give us a research time reduction of 2%. Time progresses pretty quickly here. Oops. End of the Spanish Civil War. With the surrender of the last Republican stronghold, the Spanish Civil War has come to an end. The nationalists stand victorious and a new era has begun for Spain. The war-torn country has suffered greatly in the fighting and there's much rebuilding to be done. Okay, nationalist Spain took 7 states and of course Republic of Spain was annexed with lots of equipment being seized. Interesting. As you can see, I'm not doing much in terms of actual movement of units or anything of that sort at the moment. There we go. I did say that was going to be a quick one. Now I do want to do both of these. I will probably start off with the mechanical computing here first. 132 days, so that'll take me a slight bit longer to perform. I probably should have done those as one of the first ones to research, but okay. There we go. Infrastructure efforts have paid off. Now, I did say that we can actually add production of 16 in terms of steel in Transvaal, which is offset by a reduction in terms of military factories. I'm actually more inclined to go for that steel production. I think I can always produce the military factories myself. So Transvaal should get an extra 16 steel production here. That's basically what we're aiming for at the moment. Now, what has happened here? Rhineland has had an increase. Soviet Union has sent 5 volunteer divisions to Republican Spain. Okay. Italy sent 2 volunteer divisions to Nationalist Spain. Anti-Comintern Pact has been formed. So what does that mean? That if I look at Italy at the moment, so let's zoom up, scroll up, and let's have a look at Italy here. There should be a modifier on here. I don't see it listed at the moment though. It says fascist, non-elections, no faction. That's not part of a faction yet, so it's not. They haven't actually formed the axes as of yet. Anyways, I think looking at the clock, it is about time for us to call it a day. So I'm going to pause the game here, stop the recording, and of course we can't save the game because we're in Iron Man mode. But I'd like to, in the meantime, say thanks again for joining me here for this first episode of this new series. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this series as much as you did maybe the previous one, which was focused on Turkey. And in the meantime, have a good day. Bye bye.